So what's up with that bourbon? What did I miss?
Okay, so my daughter is a country singer. I don't know if I told you guys that last time I was on.
I
You
do.
did.
Yep, I remember you talking about that. Yep.
Okay, and actually that was 3 years ago, believe it or not.
I know.
Um, and man, I guess that was like right in 2020. It was right around COVID, wasn't it? Right there, June or so.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and I remember it. I remember it because when we were kind of hanging up or whatever, you guys saw the picture of my car, my 911 in the back. You guys
Yep.
remember this? I actually brought
Yep.
it in. You can see it. You guys see
Yep.
that? And you guys remember the
I
story
can
of
see
that car?
it.
You remember where I got it and all that stuff? Remember that? I bought it
Well,
across town. I bought it from the guy from Quiet Riot, all that. Well, the
I
reason
don't.
why, you guys remember that?
I
I'm
don't
more
remember you
hung
going
up
into
on
those
the.
details.
See, I thought you were joking about that being your daughter behind you. So that's really her.
No, that's really her. If you guys
Wow.
Google her,
Okay.
I knew it was.
Hmm.
I don't remember the Quiet Riot piece in the Porsche.
No, I remember the Porsche, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, you guys remember that? Okay. Well, yeah, I bought that from the guitar player from Quiet Riot, and it was in Hollywood, and I bought it back in 2000. And the story was I sold it in 2015. And when I talked to you guys in June, I told you I didn't have it. And I don't know what it was, but it must have been whatever. It was only a couple of weeks or so after we did this, after that, this little, after our podcast
Hmm.
here, the guy that had the car called me back up and wanted to know if I wanted to buy it. And I bought it back.
Wow.
So now I got the sucker back. And I tell you, that thing is, I'm so glad. I mean, you can go get cars or everything. I looked for 911s forever to try to find one like this one. And they were
Uh-huh.
out there, but nothing like this one. I couldn't find anything that I would even get that excited. This thing is awesome. I'm excited. I got it
What
back.
what's your favorite website to look for cars?
Bring it.
Specifically those type of cars. Bring a trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to bring a
I could
trailer and
spend
all that.
I could spend hours on that damn website.
Yep. Dangerous.
You know, that I tell you, when you see people selling on Bring It To, look at the amount of questions that people nail on those things. I mean, how many?
Oh
Oh,
And
yeah.
5 seconds, guys.
Yeah.
okay,
Hard enthusiasts. Yeah,
All
you got some
right.
people in Bring a Trailer that they know everything about everything. And so
it's unbelievable.
some of the weirdest vehicles will show up on there.
You want
And
another dark hole to go down, and it's
sure.
Yeah,
cars and bids. I think that's another
Cars and
one.
bids.
Yeah.
Is that like Bring a Trailer?
So they have specific rules about the cars that can be sold on the site. So they're
Okay.
all clean. They're all modern, quote unquote, and they're all unique in some way, shape, or form. So, and by the
I'll have
way,
to
I
check
think we
that one
just
out.
sent the entire audience over there. So you tell a bunch of car people, hey, there's a site where you go look at some cool cars.
want to check it out. I mean, it was just a
Yeah.
natural reaction, right? I was like, oh, let me go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's that one called again? Cars and bids?
I think it's Cars and Bids. It's been a while. It's Doug. There's a YouTube car guy celebrity. He does all the every new car review of it and all that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. It's Doug. God, I wish somebody would put it up in the comments if they knew what I was talking about. But if you remember Mike DeChico um,
Yeah.
from old Dealer.com days, he turned me on to that one. That's been a fun one to check in on in time to time.
I don't get on eBay anymore, Chris. I don't know why. It's just not in my list of websites to check unless I'm looking for something really specific and maybe hard to get. I'll go, oh shit, that's right. Maybe I'll jump on eBay. But when it comes to vehicles, I've been following Bring a Trailer for years. I mean, and it's been funny to watch it explode. I mean, at one point there was like maybe 30, 40 cars. Now there's like 300 or 400 cars listed on there. And the
Yeah,
coolest cars.
Well, if I know
It
Vitaly, you
felt
just ruined
great.
him with new websites to look at. And
Well, what other than uh, being the former owner of Quiet Riot, what makes what makes your Porsche unique?
I don't know. I think it's I wanted the years between 86 and 89.
Hmm.
It's I'd love to have the 89 because it is the 5 speed, but in its white and black, those colors together with the
Yeah.
black accents, it's got the I don't know if you guys can. I don't even know if this really is it a black and white. Let's see if I
here you
can
go.
watch this. I don't know if
Yeah.
you get the reflection out of there.
It's
Yeah.
just the
Very,
classic 911.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, classic
Beautiful.
styling, just very simple. I got they have the original wheels and I have the original exhaust, but I have it tricked out a little bit so it's a little louder and so on. But that thing is just it's great. Now it jumped up like bring a chill. You watch them. When I had that vehicle in the last 20 years, that thing has jumped like crazy. Now I don't want to
Oh
take it on the
yeah.
track. If I
Right.
put it into the wall, I'd be out of my mind. That's the only thing about it. But it's a great car.
I used to be hardcore in the Volkswagens, and I've had three Volkswagen Scirocco's, and my last Scirocco was a 16 valve, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was nice. 112,000 miles. You know, I had a couple things done, a few small mods, but nothing major. And I sold it, I don't know, several years ago. I think I got like 4,000 for it. Dude, these things are going for over 20G now.
Mm. Yep.
Unbelievable. I had the same one. I had the black with the red highlights, like down the bumper, the
Mm-hmm.
16 valve black. I had the
16
black. I
valve.
got
Yep.
the GTI 16 valve too. I had that as well. But I was just like,
Same
yeah,
here.
I used to subscribe to Volkswagen and VW Porsche magazine. You remember that
Mm-hmm.
magazine?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was all VW and Porsche, and so I've been all over it for years. But yeah, watching that bring a trailer, just oh man, you can just you're right. Alex is right. You can go crazy. You can be in there forever.
I'd still like get my hands. I still like get my hands on a nice little 914.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I saw one. I was at Lime Rock last year. A buddy of mine is actually racing today. I'm going down tomorrow. He drives a car like mine. He races, and there was a 914 there that was tricked out. This guy and his dad
Yeah.
had rebuilt it, and this thing was just unbelievably beautiful. And I mean, the way it was set up, it was blue. It had an extra tail on it. I mean, it was just. I've never
Mm-hmm.
been a 914 guy. You see the 914s about around, but this thing I would definitely buy. It was beautiful. It was
Yeah,
stunning.
you can trick them out nice.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like a 928. The
Mm-hmm.
S4. You
Really?
know, when I, yeah. When I was selling, we had one in used, and we drove it, and it was just that V8 back then. That power was unbelievable, and it just was so comfortable. It was big and
Mm-hmm.
heavy,
It
and
sat
it just
low like nothing else back then. And
Yeah.
right.
yep.
My wife
Yeah.
can't stand
I always like the tail end, that bubble shape.
big, big
Beautiful car.
wide. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. My wife, she doesn't like the 911 at all. So we have to take that car. It's loud. I like to take the windows and the top back.
Sure, there's
And
plenty of other women out there that would be it's
but
just
the 928 would be a
like
no
to be
for
in the passenger seat.
I can't.
Nah,
She
don't say that.
doesn't get excited about it at all. Like, hey, well, we're gonna go out, we're gonna go to dinner or something like that. She's like, you just take the truck. Yeah, sure, we'll take the truck.
Oh wow.
But
No comment.
That's funny. My
that's
wife's that way about our truck, which is a big ass lifted 350. So,
oh wow,
She doesn't like taking that.
no, she hates that thing. So,
spring
I
loaded.
hear we take the car.
Uh,
So,
yeah, speaking of truck, yeah, that's why I was talking about my daughter. We talked about her being a country singer, but since then, and she's opened up for some really big acts now. I got some posters up here. I got Brantley Gilbert, Miranda Lambert, Blake Shelton. She's going to Toby
Wow.
Keith. She's if you look her up there, you can see some of the things we're going. I just finished up flights. She's opening up for Little Big Town out in California. So anybody in California is going to be out there. She'll be at Salinas, California, at a rodeo. and she's opening up for Little Big Town next month in July. So we're going to go out and do that.
I see she
Oh,
So
that's
does the
big.
free whiskey.
so that's why I have the whiskey here. That's why I was kind of showing you the whiskey here, because she has her own coffee, Hoyser Country Blend. Okay, and there was a distiller out in Idaho that reached out, and they were music fans, and they were wondering if they could possibly make a whiskey with her coffee, because they were thinking about
Yes.
making
Yep.
Mm.
a
It's really
coffee flavor.
good.
And she infused it. They infused it in there, and they've come up to a couple years to make, and now we have it. It's called Drunken Bean. She created the label and the whole deal, and she sells it. And now we just got the approval in, let's see, in Tennessee. It's up in here. It's in New York. I think they're working on Pennsylvania, and it's just working its way around the country. But I'll have to send you guys a bottle. You guys can taste it.
Yeah.
It's
I
delicious.
love,
Down.
I'm trying to think. I forget what the name, I think it's Nikita, and it's actually a Japanese whiskey,
Yes.
Japanese bourbon, but it's coffee grain. And
Oh, okay.
oh man, it's so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. It's not.
Good for her,
It's
man.
look at Chris. I got the coffee. He did. He bought everything as soon as he came out. Chris bought everything. And yeah, I sent him. But I'll have to send you guys down a bottle so you guys can try it. It's sweet. You just put it on the rocks or
Yep.
whatever. It doesn't need anything. But you can mix it into an espresso martini kind of thing, and it's women love it because it doesn't burn them. You know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
It's
smooth.
Nice.
super sweet. Yeah,
Well,
it's great.
guys, should we migrate over to the
Nah.
subject of today's conversation, or stay here on daughters and Porsches?
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Well, like as we go along. But yeah.
Well,
Well,
Mike.
So
congrats to you, man. Congrats to
Yeah.
her. That's big time, man.
no, that's great. And guys, or anybody that's watching this or whatever, there's a lot of openings that go on out there, and she travels around the country doing this. But look her up, Claudia, last name Hoyser, just like mine on the screen. And
Yeah.
yeah, follow her. We're going actually next Friday down to Watkins Glen. NASCAR is going to be, filming her. She's got a new single out called "She's Smoking," about a race car. So check it out.
Nice.
Very
Nice.
nice.
Definitely will.
Okay, cool.
Well, last time we had you on, Mike,
Mhm.
like you mentioned earlier, it was the beginning of COVID, and there was absolutely no time like then to really make sure your phone skills were dead on. Um, but it seems like things went the other direction.
Yeah, yeah, and it did in a big way. And now I'm sure you guys feel the difference now. Inventory was like zero, and what I noticed with the salespeople is I sometimes always bring up you want to sell from strength, but they were almost over that. It was like one of those things where they had no problem. They had all kinds of strength because they didn't have any inventory. So if you wanted it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, fine.
Yep.
I got 3, 4 people behind you. So, hey, this is what it's going to be. So when I was talking about, putting this together and we were talking a little bit about it, I could just hear it on the phones where it would, I guess when you want to say the target of setting appointments and setting meetings and doing all those kinds of things. I mean, I don't know, there was no urgency at all. They just like, well, here it is. This is the price. Okay. This is how you can have it or you can't have it, or it's going to be in this color and this is what it is, and take it or leave it. And that's kind of like the way it was. And so I thought when we came out of COVID and inventory starts to creep back up, interest rates start to go up a little bit. Competition is now coming back. Obviously a lot of stores have been bought and sold. Is a whole nother thing. Like, okay, so now, hey, I don't want to say cockiness, but whatever you want to say, the feeling of sitting back and saying take it or leave it is really kind of going off the board. But I was just listening to calls this week, and I'm not hearing the difference. I don't know if it's just because the salespeople now for the last few years, they've just gotten used to it. But
Probably.
to give you an example, I just heard on a call, the customer just wanted to know if a vehicle was available. He told him it was available. It's inbound. It has a $10,000 upcharge on it, and just went quiet and just said that. Oh yeah, it's available. Yep, it's inbound. It'll be $10,000 over sticker.
Was it a Kia?
Yeah, what kind
Nope.
of car was it?
I guess that doesn't matter. Does it matter? No, we're not pointing anybody out. It was Cadillac. So
I don't know. I mean, when you're on the floor and you're taking phone
Escalades are really
calls,
hard to get right now.
yeah, and you've got something specific, and you're getting so many phone calls. At some point, you're just like, ugh, another phone call on this car. Let's test them. Let's see how serious they are, and that's the track that you use. Yep, it's inbound. It's 10,000 over sticker. What do you think?
yeah, well, I would even take. What do you think? I
Yeah.
would give me. He was trying to go beyond. It's $10,000 over.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like this is it. So the customer's like, okay, um, can you do something by the end of the month? And then the customer basically said, look, I understand the vehicles right now are sought after, and there's going to be approximately $10,000 over right now on this. I get that.
Most of them know.
He knows, the customer knew. I mean, he'd been calling around. Of course, he'd been hearing it at other stores, and that's like one of those things that's happened. But when I started to hear that, I heard some other ones too, and it's just like, what do they call it? They kind of call it the path of least resistance kind of thing. It's just
Hmm.
easier. Just give them the information. Let's not battle them. Let's just give them the information. So when they ask for something, let's just give it to them. And I think I kept hearing it and hearing every question that came in. Does it have a rear backup camera? Yes, it does. No.
That's it.
No follow through, huh?
I'm here. I'm waiting for the next step. Like, okay, it's okay if you answer a question. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But then let's continue on. I mean, what are we trying to do here? And that's what I kept hearing. So when I say more selling than telling, that's kind of like the thing I was telling you guys about. I was like, we seem to be telling them fine. We do a great job. We're actually straight up front with the customers. And a lot of times you're like, you know what? I like to give my customers what they're looking for. You know what they want? They want all the information. And the detailed information that I was hearing, I got, the things I was hearing, I made some notes here. Allocation times, details about the order bank and whatever, how it's going to go and what's going to happen and all this kind of stuff. Just unbelievable amount of detail that you can certainly cover when they're at the store, but they're doing it on the phone.
Hmm.
So I guess where I'm trying to do in the classes that I've had recently is I'm trying to scale it back, and I'm trying to make it really easy to say, hey, look, guys, okay, if we're going to be in business, I don't care if you're in the car business or any other industry, whatever it is, okay, and you have an opportunity, the phone rings, and you have an opportunity to talk to a prospect, okay, all I want you to do is progress the sale. We just want to move things along, okay? Now, obviously, we want to get to the sale at the very end. I get it, but here, let's just back up. Let's take one step at a time. When you get that call, you want to get the information. And what I do is I test them. What do you want to do? What do you want to cover on the phone? And I test them and they tell me all the things. Well, I probably assess what they're looking for. I'll do all this kind of stuff. I'll get their name and contact information, maybe set a meeting, all that. And I said, stop right there. That's all I want you to do. Call comes in. I want you to set the meeting. I want you to set the appointment. We're going to go from here to here. That's it. I don't want you to go any farther. Now, we're answering questions that are way here when they're in the store, and we're getting way off track. We're getting way ahead than what we need to. Yeah, assessing trades. They're assessing trades. They want to know about other details about after delivery. They want to know about all this detail about the technology. They want, I'm like, whoa, we can cover all that. But right now, let's just get the meeting. And I think I've noticed that I've had success with them just like focusing on that. Oh, okay, I can do that. So Now what we got to do is we got to start selling the meeting. So when I say, go ahead, Alex, it looks like you were ready to say something.
Well, you got me thinking like, because of the inventory shortages and whatnot, and the demand that was not answered by supply, even the management at the stores was able to take a break from making sure their people were saying the right things or not, or driving towards the right things. And we've got that plus almost a whole bunch of new salespeople to the industry who haven't known any different. And and it's like really what you're just talking about is sort of resetting. Like, okay, here's the goal of every phone call. It's to drive to a meeting, and it is the 101 that we're lacking right now. And I just wanted to put that in simple terms and get
Yeah,
to that, because it doesn't matter who you're talking to. You should always have a goal for the call, right?
that's it. That's what we focus on, and that's where I think that a lot of the salespeople kind of lose touch because over the last couple of years, it was just right to the sale. Well, we'll just go to thing. We're not stopping and going through it, and they're trying to do too much, which makes it hard because the people calling it are frustrated. They're looking for inventory. They've been putting the legwork and time in, and when they have that frustration, they put it on the salesperson. The salesperson, like, you know what? Hey, let's just give the people what they want. They're obviously short with me. I'm trying to be nice, but they're obviously let's just give it to them. Let's just give them what they want. And it's just easier to just answer the questions. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's here. Yep. It's here. Hmm.
It's
Oh,
funny.
okay. So, you know, um, how many miles does it have on it? Yep. It has 63,000. And we just give them the information and we just give it and wait. And there's no turnaround. Like, it's not, they're not asking them after that to give out a piece of information. Let's get a little something back. Well, that's what I mean when it comes to the selling part. And one of the things I've started focusing on is, that on the selling and not telling is like, look, okay, how do we sell today? How do we sell anything? Everyone's heard that point. Have you guys, in your interviews, you guys have been bosses, you guys done that sell a pen type thing? Can you sell me this pen?
Mm-hmm.
Been put through it.
I've been put through it. Jeff, you put people through it? You've been through it?
Been through it.
Okay.
Yep.
And you guys get the concept of that, right? So people would, sell me the pen. In a way, what you're trying to do is you're basically trying to assess the salesperson. Can they sell? But if they're going to sell, what is the best way to do it? How are they going to sell you that pen? They can't just start selling you on how great the pen is and all the things it can do and how strong it is. And it can be working in, 32 degrees below zero and all this great stuff. If they don't know exactly what the pen's going to be used for, right? Everybody knows that. You got to ask qualifying questions. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things, obviously, we always look for is we want to make sure we want to sell from strength. How do we sell from strength? By getting information. When we know the information, then we know how to win. That's when we can sell from strength. But what we're doing is we're just telling them all the information and we're hoping that it's right. And we could be spending a lot of time down the wrong path. We don't even realize it. And I think that's what we're seeing on the phones a lot is we're just giving it out. The customer is asking a question, we're just giving it out instead of qualifying them a little bit, understanding what their needs are a little bit, and then fill in the gaps. And that's how we sell.
I think customers can also, I mean, they know, and as a human, just speaking to another human being, even outside the car business, when somebody's just going through the motions. Um, and it, it doesn't come across as anyone trying to be helpful. And with so much of this happening everywhere right now, and it's not just in the car business, it's the RV business, the boat business, like everywhere, like anywhere. You could call Best Buy and it's just people are just going through the motions. And if you are just a little bit different, just a little bit, you're going to stand out. You don't have to be great, just a little bit different.
But that's it. I agree. And that's the other thing about on the selling part of it. If you're going to be selling somebody to come in, I mean, today, you guys can back me up if it is. I know how it works for me. If I got to call a big company to get something done customer service wise, man, I
Let
tell
me
you,
let me talk to the AI, please.
I'm just bummed out. I know that, I gotta cancel DirecTV. Okay, I know I got to do this, and I know it's going to be watching. I actually just paid for another month because I didn't want to spend on the phone for 45 minutes.
That's what they're banking on.
They are. It is so painful to get anything done. And I guess what I'm getting at, if you just do your job, just do it. People are so thankful. You don't have to do
Anymore.
much. If you
Mm-mm.
follow up with somebody and you just follow up without having somebody had to remind you or text you, you just followed up, they're blown away. It doesn't take a lot. So what I'm saying, when you're going to sell, especially okay, amongst competitors, you need to start selling yourself to stand out. And believe it or not, it's not a lot. It doesn't take a lot. Put a little personality, put a little tone in what you're doing. Okay, a little bit of follow up. Customers will gravitate to it immediately because you know what? I just listened to some calls this morning about what you're competing with. I hope some salespeople see this and say, okay, I guess I could be a little happier because I just heard it. Just heard it again this morning. Thank you for calling such and such dealership. Okay, I'll say, George, this is George. How can I help you? The customer says, which I think, okay, said the greeting. Customer says, well, hi, George. How are you today? What's George say? I'm good. How can I help you? I'm sitting there on the phone.
Excitement.
I throw my pen. I'm like, George, come on. The guy's he's trying to say, hey, I'm a nice guy here. We can get along. And George is like, yeah, how can I help you? Like, get right back
Yeah,
to it. Let's get right to the, and
at least mirror their energy.
Yeah. And always,
at, at,
how is it going today? You answer, unbelievable.
yeah, it's like, okay. I always talk about separating yourself, right? Separating yourself from the competition. That's the first thing you can do. I mean, the dealership's going to try to do their thing, right? They're going to keep everything clean, light up the cars, do a nice job marketing, do all the stuff that they can. But when you get a chance to talk to somebody and you get a chance to differentiate yourself, you got to do your part, not only for yourself, but also the dealership you're with, I think. And I think that it doesn't take a lot of energy to do that, but there's little things you could do, the follow up, the thank yous, I look at it even as giving directions to your store. You know, I can't tell you how many calls I hear at the end. Okay, yeah, you know where we're located? Yeah, I got it here on my. I got it here. Yeah, I think I know where you're at. Oh, okay, good. I can text you the address if that's okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. I'll just text you the address. But when you think about it, if you stay at a 5-star resort, 5-star hotel, high end place, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, what they do is they tell you about what's going to happen when you get there. What's the experience going to be like when you arrive? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to park? Okay. Is there a valet? Is there not? They talk about that. So when you show up, you know exactly what you're supposed to do. You're very comfortable in the setting. And what salespeople do is we leave them at the road. We text them
Hmm.
the address and let them figure it out. Let them find me. It doesn't take a lot to tell them how to do that. I'm moving around to see if I can get back on the screen here. It doesn't take a lot. Tell them, okay, you can come in here. What am I going to do? Do I walk in? What am I looking for? Am I looking for you? Are you going to be standing there? If not, what do I do? Do I have your page? Is there a place? It doesn't take a lot to let them know that. Same thing in service. I listen to a lot of service calls and the fixed op side of it. Obviously, this is
Special
huge.
service.
Yeah, I was just listening to some this morning down in Florida. And normally in service, you hear a lot. Do you know where we're located? And yeah, I know where you're at. I got the car there. But I've heard in the Florida cars or the calls, they're not from there. They come in for a few months. No, I've never serviced it here.
Hmm.
I hear that more down there because a lot of people
The
are
snowbirds, yeah.
right. They're coming in or whatever that, or they're just getting property down there. No, I've never been there. And this is I mean, here we go. Right? They've never been
Yeah.
there. they're driving a high end car. You want to welcome this guy in. You want to make sure. Oh, that's no problem. I'll get you here. Tell them what the drop off procedures are going to be. What's going to, and okay, you'll find us. And you're just like, oh, geez, I think there's a lost opportunity right there.
That's a good point. Huge
This
point.
is like, I have to think, I've been looking at AI quite a bit, and AI right now in our industry is more of a written component. Um, and it seemingly having some pretty strong success in generating more appointments and more engagement with internet leads. Um, the thing about AI that seems to be working well is it's always hitting what it was trained to do. Is Do you have any customers that are using AI for maybe their internet lead follow up or anything along those lines, and then the phone is sort of the escape hatch or the you know
Right. I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I have spoken recently to a GM about that, about the success, because I want to stay up on that. Because I just wanted to know, what the story was. I mean, I know it's out there, it's coming around. You can see it in all the news articles right now. It's right on the edge. But I want to, is it really productive? You know what he says? He goes, Mike, productive. He goes, I have customers trying to ask out Brooke. They come, hey, is Brooke here? I just want to know if she want to grab some coffee. And I'm like,
Shut up.
he or full on like confrontation, upset. Well, they said that the vehicle would be here. It's not here, and they don't even realize they had a full conversation, a text conversation with a machine. They had no idea. That's how good it is. And it's getting better. But I think what's interesting about it is reading through some of the transcripts is how good the AI is at focused production, staying productive, going for the appointment, asking for the appointment, you know, trying to overcome objections. And then boom, you see the situation where they're asking about a particular part of the vehicle. They'll ask for, does it have a sunroof? They'll say something like that. Does this vehicle, I can see in the picture, does it have a sunroof? Oh, it absolutely does. So when are you more available to come in and take a look? It just goes right into asking them to come in. The customer goes, oh, geez, I think I can come in right away. And this thing's like, great. I'm checking the schedule right now, and it looks like and it's got really good inflection in the way it writes, and man,
Hmm.
you'd swear it's a person. So they're working on the voice side. Okay, so what I'm looking at is like, okay, now we're gonna jump into our world, and I think it's going to be very interesting because if it can do this well, writing it down, how well are they going to do on the voice side?
Yeah.
We have a lot of BDCs out there. Okay, we took the salesperson.
hmm.
And we said to the salesperson, okay, you don't do well on the phones. You don't seem to be able to do it. Let's get some professionals that can handle the phones and follow up the internet leads. Let's do that. And we're going to put them over here. And now, you know, okay, so now you can't handle the internet lead fast enough or more efficient enough. We're not getting you're not getting the turnaround on the leads so well. So you know what? The machine's going to take over. It goes 24/7, has unlimited energy, and keeps going, keeps working, never gives up, never stops. And now we're going to give that a voice. Okay.
Uh
I'm thinking, I'm like, all right. If I'm a BDC person, I'm like, oh boy, here we go now. Because what I think is interesting is how they market it. When they market the AI and they're selling it to dealership, what I think is interesting is what they say is like this. You know what? Your salespeople need FaceTime. That's what they're good at. Is face to face. Let them spend their productive time in front of customers. Don't worry about this part of it. Okay, we're going to take that on. So you just do this. That way, your people, okay, are being the most productive in closing deals. Okay, because we're going to be able to use this over here. It's only going to cost this, and blah 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 blah. You know what? And then what happens? Now we adapt it. We get it all in, and it's the next step, and the next step. And how much are they going to take over? How much is going to be left for the salesperson?
It's a
It's
good
interesting.
question.
You know,
Yep.
it's
Yeah. It's got some management potential too, because it can take in all different data sets. Like, think of it taking in CRM data, website data, inventory data, and then it can start to bubble up where there's areas of opportunity or areas of issue and say, hey, general manager or GSM or whomever, take a look at this. This needs your attention now. So, I mean, yeah, it's going places.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it is.
Hmm.
I think it's one of those things that it creates. One of the things I ask about when I'm doing the trainings is, successful people, the top 1%ers, people that do really, really well. Okay, people that do just great. Okay, guys like yourself. You know what I mean, top 1% are solid guys. Okay, what makes them different from other people? What is it about them and their personalities, and what is it that makes them different? And I always get all kinds of feedback. Listening across, one of the things that usually comes out, okay, is discipline. Okay, successful people are very disciplined when they create a process and follow the steps. Because what happens is it creates consistency. All right. So once you can establish consistency, then all we got to do is figure out how we're going to move up. And that's what successful people do. They stabilize everything, okay, by integrating a process that's solid, that works. And then what we do is all we got to work on the fine tuning to continue to get better. I kind of look, like my golf game. I don't know if you guys play golf. My golf game's all over the place. But you work on this work. I got to work on the swing first. I get the consistency. Now I'm working on connecting right. So that's what I see. So having a process, I think, is key in success. And I think that in the dealerships, what I go into, I ask, one of the questions I ask is, tell me about you have like a road to the sale, everyone have a road to the sale. Does everybody have a process they do when a customer comes in? And they say, oh, yeah, we do. I'm like, great. Well, how many steps to your process? How many steps do you have? You would not believe, very rare that it's everyone knows it.
Yep. Nine
They look around
steps,
each other
10
and they're like,
steps.
7, 10? I think it's 12. No, it's 10 here. It's 10 here. I'm like, oh, okay. Is it 10 or is it 7? What is it? There's no consistency. So even when they're walking in with a customer, they haven't been trained with the process that way. Now on my phones, we have a consistent process. So I'm just trying to emulate that. If you cover the steps, you have more success. You become more consistent.
Well,
You know
you're
what I
actually making an argument for the AI, and I think that a lot of people hear the term and say, "Oh man, that's going to replace people," and I think it's the opposite because technology has come into our lives throughout human history, and it's always been feared at first because it's looked like, man, this is going to disrupt what I do. Um, but at the end of the day, new technology always creates more jobs and creates more opportunity. And I think that what you're talking about here, Mike, is the AI will help create consistency at the lower level. And we'll still have a need for humans to take it to the next level. So,
Yeah, and I am touching base on that on the human side. I'm still saying that it doesn't matter if it's an AI application or a human application. You know, having a solid process that works, okay, will create that consistency, and it'll give the salespeople confidence because they know what they're supposed to do and it's clear. One of the questions that I would ask, and I don't know if you guys put out little posts as you guys go through this, but what is the number one skill set that you think a salesperson should have? If you said, what is the number one skill set that you think a salesperson should have? What would it be? What would you guys number one? What do you think? I was thinking about this.
I
man,
guess depends on what you're selling. But I mean, for me, my first answer is just consistency.
Consistency. Somebody consistent.
consistency is a good one. It's also like there's some nimbleness that's needed because like you can be consistent. Um, and I think of like engineers, for example. I'm in the tech space, so they can be very consistent. But when it comes to being nimble and being responsive and moving with the situation, being creative, um,
Yes.
that can be something that they lack from time to time. So
Okay, I like it, and my suggestion, there's a lot of things that a salesperson is going to have, but one of the skill sets that I think is really good is they have to be good communicators. They
yep.
have to be able to communicate. They have to be able to take whatever sales service you're going to be doing, whatever service or product you're going to be selling, and be able to communicate to someone else and how it works and how it can help them and all this guy. Be able to communicate not only to the people, and in our business, in the car business, like what you said, you got to be pliable. You got to be able to work with the person that walks in, that a highline guy, you got whatever it is, whatever the situation, you got all walks of life that are coming in, and you got to be able to move. Have you ever noticed that we're always looking for people like that may be in other industries, kind of like a bartender that works with different people and used to communicating with different people. Some people that are very analytical, more creative people, things that are going to move around, and have that salesperson be able to move with that person is great. And how they do it is through communication. Not only do they have to communicate externally to our customers and be able to adapt to them because they all have different personality traits, we got to be able to communicate internally to our internal customers, to the guys inside the dealership. They got to work in the F&I. They got to work with the service and fix reports, and they got to be able to communicate the information. So give me a great communicator. Okay, I think that's going to be I think that's a really a solid win. And I think that as I hear phone calls that people struggle with is they have a hard time sometimes communicating on the phone that way. They do better in person,
Oh
but
yeah.
on the phone, you know what I mean? I just get lost on the phone. Because it's really hard to read people when you only have the sound and the tone. It really is. So I think that staying to a process or be able to implement something when you're having difficulty with communication or communicating or getting your feelings out, whatever the situation is, I think it's tough. So I think salespeople, that's one of the things that working on properly communicating the message that the store is trying to create or the product is trying to serve. I think if you can do that, then you'll be successful.
Yeah, and that's where scripts help a lot. Um, I know they helped me significantly when I was a salesperson. Definitely helped BDC agents for sure. That's like having that confidence in a word track. It sets that baseline you were talking about to create that consistency in the job, and then it's just a matter of experience, really, that takes you to the next level of like, okay, if I have to get off this script at all, I can speak to it, and then I can bring something back to the script so I can finish it.
Agreed.
The, the
Absolutely.
old the, the old school Travier.
Yeah,
Remember those?
yeah, but it
Yeah, yeah,
works. It's true.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they all work. It is, and I think that it leads into it. It's like, yeah, great. So if I have a little trouble communicating and communicating something new that I'm not real confident with, here's a script. Here's a word track that hey, if I just follow this, put my own little spin on it, make it mine, it's going to help me communicate better. Okay, what this vehicle can do, or how I can sell them on coming in and sell them on the appointment. And I think it's very helpful.
Why do you think so many people are just that bad on the phone?
Why do I think some people are just that bad on the phone? Well, I think when it comes to what I think it's hard is you have your agenda. Your agenda is to bring that customer in. The customer has their agenda, and it's not to come in. Their agenda is to get information from you so they can go and use this information somewhere else. And I think that's the difficult part is the customer is going to make the salesperson uncomfortable. And like I said, the path of least resistance is to give them the information. And I think the toughest thing, and one of the things that we run into on the calls that we score and listen to and so on, is there is so much information that we give the customers up front. How many pictures of a pre-owned vehicle do we put online? Oh my God. minimum, what, 20, 25, 30 pictures. I mean, it's just, you got all the pictures. Okay. You got the mileage. You can look up some sort of Carfax. You can figure out some sort of a payment. You got all this information online. Everything is there. Okay. So we've given all that away. What is the one piece of information that's not really online that's left?
The pat on the butt to say we're going to take care of you.
Okay, okay, I'll give you that one too. Plus availability, right? Is it really there? Is the vehicle really there? This is one of the things that happen. Now, this is a leverage we have. We still have this little piece of leverage right here. And the customer is going to ask right off the bat, I have everything else. Is it there? And it's a yes, no question. And I think if you ask a lot of salespeople, this is the most difficult part. They want to answer that question. That's what they want to do. They just want to tell them. And as soon as you give that information out, which is usually on the beginning of the call, now you've lost all the leverage. Now you've given them that. Okay. So the key is like, look, I've given them everything. I'm sure anything. I want to be able to get their information. I want to do all this type of stuff. I want to get their contact information. They're in the market. They're a prospect. I don't want to actually give out that leverage just yet. Let's hold on to that for a little bit. Okay. Let's get to know them. Let's tell them about me. Let's get to know me a little bit. And then we'll get to that part. But we seem to get ahead.
Which, by the way, it doesn't that getting to know somebody and holding leverage with the facts that they're after doesn't just apply to the phone. I mean, if you're texting or emailing with somebody, the same rules apply.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I just recently I've been listening to these calls. I'm getting myself back in the middle here. Recently, I've been listening to these calls, and I remember as a salesperson in the store selling cars, man, if I had something like a $5,000, I was selling Mazdas at the time. This is how I'm dating myself. What am I going to do? No big deal. Everybody can tell I'm a million years old. Um, we had Miatas coming in. Remember when the Miata first came in? This is long. You guys are younger, so I don't know if you guys remember.
Was it
But
80? What
I
was it?
do.
86? What was the first
it
one
was
for the Miata?
no, it was
83.
90. It was in the 90s. Right? It was in
Yeah,
There
the
was an
early
80s
90s.
Miata.
early 90s. Yeah, it was early 90s. They
Okay.
they were coming in, and it was my first experience of selling over retail because everybody were looking for these cars. Okay, and I was like so excited, but we were getting those same questions. Are you trying to sell these cars over retail? And I would tap dance. I wouldn't say anything. It'd be like, I haven't heard that. It could be, I don't know. We'll work that out when you get here. I would tap dance all around. I wouldn't just tell them straight out, yeah, but they're 3 grand over. And today in 2023, these guys, no problem. Yeah. $15,000 over. Yes, sir. They are $15,000 over. Oh, well, it's the end of the month. Do you think we got a little, room to work on that a little bit?
14,999.
Absolutely not. Double clarified. Absolutely not. We are not going to move. That is going to be the price. Okay. The guy's like, okay, all right, well, all right. Well, I'll leave my number with you. Okay. And if you decide to change it up, you can give me a call. How's that sound? Okay. But I want to say it one more time. Okay. We are not going to change our, okay. But, to answer your question, Jeff, that the biggest thing I find is why it's difficult on the phone is those customers are going to really be on their agenda. We're on a different agenda. They're going to ask a pointed question, and the least path of resistance is to answer the question instead of selling them on coming around it and bringing them in. I think that's why we're challenged. I know with our system, we are going to avoid that and see if we can't bring them in and discuss it. We're going to tell them, but then we're going to get their contact information first, and then we'll let them know. But we're always, once we give them the availability, we are going to ask them to come in.
Yeah, whenever I would get the availability calls, I would, I would say I believe it's still here, but I'm not sure. I saw someone sold something very similar, so I'll have the lot guy go ahead and run down there real quick and see if it's still in stock. And in the meantime, then you can start asking more questions. Same way
That's
I
it.
remember when we were selling a Volkswagen Jettas, the new Jettas had just come out. Everyone, for whatever reason, wanted a silver one. So I would park all the silver ones at the very end of the parking lot because the way our parking lot was, that way everyone had to walk past every other car, every other Jetta before they got to see the silver ones. And 9 times out of 10, they find another. Well, that if I can't get silver, I might actually like that. That I like that color. So just to put some obstacles in the way, might not have been
Beautiful.
right, but it worked.
No, that's that is a great tactic. I was in Florida at a Lincoln store, and they would advertise the Lincoln base, 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 base. I mean, they put
Yeah.
that way in the back, and then what they do is they had a golf cart. They got a golf cart, and hey, it's going to be way in the back. We should just take a ride. Get the customers in the golf cart, and they put all the I mean, I call it the grastination package. I call this. We have all these crazy words and everything, but we put those up front. They got everything on them. And man, they wouldn't get that far. Like, ooh, look at that one.
Nope.
Look at that one.
Yeah,
We
but Kelly,
certainly
Chris made a
can.
good point.
it's
Product
just
placement.
retail. I mean, it's
Yep.
why the milk and the meat and everything's in the
Yep.
back of the grocery store.
That,
Yep, you got to walk
absolutely.
past all the other stuff to get it. To yep.
How they do studies on what to put on the end of each aisles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all that data that they figure out. I tell you, they have my wife. It's like they have her. It's like they bring her into a room. And they just, okay. So what are you going to look for? When you're checking out a TJ Maxx, you go to TJ Maxx. They got this crazy aisle when you go through, and you bought, I don't know, $300-400. You're going to spend another $100 by the time they ring her right in for sure.
Yeah, that's the 70% off everything aisle basically, and like
I'm a sucker
my
for it
my
too.
wife
So.
just can't resist that. Oh, you're gonna save money? Yep.
They put an eye level on the stores. I can see some people coming in and saying that. That's good. Thanks, there, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I think that I don't know. You probably have some more posed questions. I was going to ask you guys, on the management level, because I've noticed a trend in the management level, and you guys have backed me up on this, or just tell me I'm way off the mark here. Um, we sell an accountability tool in a way, and how we're doing, holding people accountable to, following a process. It's kind of like what it is. And accountability, I don't know if you've seen it, but from me going to the stores, has changed a lot. When I was an old school car sales guy where, the gloves were off. I mean, it was the Wild West. You guys remember that, it was like, if they told me, we were in the snow. I need you to go shovel all those cars off, and I need it done in an hour. I'm like, okay, and I'm running out there with a shovel. What do you think about it? You told me to do it, and I'm going to do
Yep.
it. You show me to show up, I'm going to be there. You want to go do it. You say, hey, Mike, I want 5 demos out of you right now, and you make it happen. And I would just make it happen. But I'm seeing such a change in how personnel is. I don't know what you want to say. Held accountable, even in meetings
Right.
and timely to meetings and dress code and all this. Are you guys seeing any of that?
Not just in the car business. There's a massive fear of the employee uh,
Yeah.
leaving the job because there's a lack of people to hire out there.
Yeah, because when I look at, because
Instead of job
when I
fever.
go into the stores, even in the time now, I've been with Phone Ninjas 9 years now. I've seen a big shift. And when I used to show up at the stores to do a class, where everybody was boom, they were timely, they walked in with a note, they had a pen, they were ready to go, they were looking, they turned off their phones, the boss game's in, it was like boom. And now,
Nightmare.
now since COVID, now I got Zoom sometimes, I'm doing virtual, whatever. I got hoodies up during the call, and I'm like,
COVID
not
gave a
come in,
lot of people a reason to be an asshole.
huh? I
COVID
missed that.
gave a lot of people a reason to be an asshole.
I know, but it is, and it's one of those things. If the salespeople are not buying into it or whatever, it's driving the other way a little bit. I didn't know
Mm.
if you guys felt that, where we need to kind of go the other way. We need we need management to hold their people accountable and hold them to a process. And I see the difficulty. There's a lot more difficulty. I like over the last few years, definitely sure since COVID, it's been worse. But I didn't know if you guys saw that trend in the
Yes.
business, in the car business.
I don't
I,
see it here at this dealership because most of the people that's been here have been here for a very long time. But
Okay.
outside, yeah, definitely,
Have you
definitely.
guys
And
seen?
that's
Have you?
and that's more of a generation thing.
I don't know. It's easy to always blame the younger generations. I
I'm not
married a
blaming them.
millennial, and I'm proud of that. I love the millennials. The but the and they've always been the butt of the jokes, but we were prior to them. So
Yep.
the boomers were laughing at the Gen Zers, or Gen Xers. Jesus, what are we? So like I feel like, and this is a deep one. It's probably in 4 minutes of time here. No way we're
Oh
going to
yeah.
cover
So
this,
I know I get on some
but it's
tanny, but
a deeper cultural issue in what could be an end of empire kind of thing that's going on in the United States. So yeah,
I
Elaborate.
think that. Well, when I see it out there, and I look at managers, a lot of times I'm always encouraging managers to take part, in the training and be around it, because we need them for our tool to work properly. We need them, okay, and our coaches need them, and we need them to really get involved and have a clear understanding of the process that we're running. And over the years, I've seen it harder and harder to get managers to do that part of it. Where before it wasn't even, it was a no brainer. And now I see, you know hey, oh yeah, I should, yeah, I can't be there. I'm sorry, I can't be there. I'm not going to be in the meetings. I'm not going to be here. The customer, and the salespeople, they go for that. And I see salespeople following managers across states if they switch dealerships. Some
I've
managers,
seen
and
that.
these managers are demanding. These managers are process driven. They do things the right way, and the people will follow them because they're
They appreciate
successful,
it.
and they appreciate them because you know what? Hey, this guy has a plan. It's solid, isn't we? And I think that if the managers are, I don't know, they're trying to be these salespeople to um, to be relaxed, to be comfortable, to be whatever it is to make the environment somewhere they would want to be. And I think that it doesn't help in a way. I think you got
comfort
to.
does not breed success.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yep,
And
that's
I would
that's
just.
the wrong. Yeah, I would agree with you there, Mike. That don't make your people comfortable. They won't make any money.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. Because I can't. I actually called one of my GMs that I work with and just asked him. You just had two people move across a bunch of states to go there. He says, "Man, it's just." And I always look at it when I'm looking at stores. I go into stores. What stores would I work at? And it's always those. It's always the ones that are on their game. They have a process. They follow the processes. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and there's not this wavering all over the place. It's very consistent, and everybody's making money. And they're happy. They're happy with where they're at. They're not leaving the jobs, right? They're changing management. That's it. They like the
Hmm.
job. I see it in fixed ops like I can't believe. I mean, you look at a parts guy, they don't leave those jobs. They don't leave. Every time I sit down to part, how long you been here? 25 years. Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah.
They love it, man. They got it down. It's job security. No one's going to know as much as them. I don't know what the story is, but I got to tell you, they're still happy in what they do. They still like the parts. They're still happy. Though I go over the greeting, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's they'll change it. They just haven't been talked about it in a long time. They like their job.
Hmm.
So people like their jobs. They will change management, but I just thought, the management part of it is a big part of the things that we do, and I think it's success of any kind of new process you put in there is make sure you got clear communication. You know, you have good accountability in how you do it, and you follow the process, and you'll have success.
Look, I think
Straight up.
we're on the beginnings, called the precipice, or the well. Let's let's just say the inventory issues are over. for the most part. We still have a
Getting there.
few manufacturers that are, slow to bring their inventory to market, and we are about to see a lot of people get pretty uncomfortable. So they've been very comfortable for the last year and a half, 2 years. So it's
Yeah,
going to
Just
change.
easy.
yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes there. But I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to have to, you know.
Oh, it's happening. It's specific brands. It's very obvious already. I mean, I was offered an invoice deal on a car the other day. It's like, wow,
No kidding.
we're back. All right.
Wow, here we go.
Yeah.
$299 a month. We're good.
Yep.
No, that's great.
Right.
How are you
Mike,
guys
we want
doing?
to thank you for your time today and coming back to visit.
Yeah, Mike, it's always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's always great talking to you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me say a little something about my daughter. Hoping picks up a couple more
Of course.
followers. I don't know
Send
how.
us, send me some of that bourbon.
Yeah, hey guys, send me your addresses. I'll get you guys a bottle.
I will
Beautiful.
do.
And
For
you guys,
sure.
are you coffee guys?
Oh yeah.
I'm bourbon and coffee guy.
Mm-hmm.
You perfect in
So
coffee.
it's a
You like
perfect mix.
you like ground? You like whole bean? What do you like?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
You guys grind your own bean? You guys do it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
You guys like
At the
flavored
house.
coffee? She's got a Jamaican me country. You got a flavored coffee, or is it just coffee straight up?
Usually just coffee black straight up.
Yep. Same.
That's how I
All
drink
right,
it
you
anymore.
give me a little report card on it. You gotta let me know what you think.
For sure.
You got it.
All
You
right,
got it.
all right, guys.
All right, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care.
Everyone have
Thanks
a
for
good
the time. I
weekend.
appreciate it. Good talking with you.
See ya.
Yep.